Morning, gentlemen. Welcome back. Today I want to talk about why every one of you guys, if you're in your 20s, should work two jobs for a set period of time. So we live in a time where obviously inflation is very rampant and it's getting out of control. It's really got out of control in the past 2 to 3 years. And working one job is not going to cut it, right? I don't know. It's funny. I don't even know how these people who have 3 to 4 kids are able to work just like two jobs. I'm surprised they're not working like 24 hours a day, because it's like, when you look at it realistically, if you have 3 to 4 kids, right, they all got to eat, they all got to go to school, they all need clothing, they got, medical, insurance, all of these things, right? So everything adds up, right? But even if you're a man, right, and you don't have any kids, you're in your early 20s, and you just, maybe you want to move out of your parents' house, maybe you don't have a car, you want to buy a car, or you just generally want to get your life established, you want to get your life together, you want to get certain things put in place so you can really start to make progress in other areas of your life and get ahead of most people. I really truly believe that it's a good idea for you to work two jobs, right, for a set period of time, at least a year. I think at least if you can dedicate a year to really putting in like 80-hour weeks, 90-hour weeks. I know it sucks. I did it for a whole year. You guys know that. But you will have really good finances. If you're living at home, I think it's even better if you do it while you live at home, because you'll really be able to save a lot of money, right? And once you have, a certain amount, whether it's 6 months, 12 months of emergency savings, you can really dial in on whatever you want to do, because you're not thinking about money so much like you were when you had nothing, right? Because when you have nothing, when you have like $50 in your bank account, or you got like under $1,000, you're stressed. You're constantly like looking to your left, looking to your right, constantly like thinking to yourself like what you're gonna do, because you just don't have the money to get by. Even if you live with your parents, you subconsciously know, like, damn, man, I don't have anything. There's no way I'm gonna be able to buy, even rent out an apartment with nothing in my bank account. So in jobs, guys, jobs aren't necessarily, I'm lucky because my job, I just, we're so busy at my location that I have at least 10 hours of overtime pretty much every week. So I don't have to work two jobs like I did at the time. But if you're working, at a low wage position, right, they're not going to be incentivized to give you 40-hour weeks, right? Even at my job, right? So our lowest paid employees are associates, right? They, in the off season, so I'm here in Florida, guys. So in Florida, from May to pretty much like October, that's our off season. So that's when all the snowbirds go back to where they're from, and that's when things start to kind of slow down from an economic perspective. So the businesses, right, whether you work at Publix, McDonald's, Walmart, anywhere, they're going to be incentivized to cut your hours, right? And it's funny because I find it funny, I'm not here to say that they do things incorrectly, right? From a business perspective, it's the correct thing to do. But I find it funny how, and you guys can tell me if you can resonate with this, I find it funny how just because it's off season, right, and they're making maybe, let's say, $10,000 or $20,000 less a week, instead of them like making sure you have your 40 or whatever, a little bit of overtime just in the off season so you can pay your fucking bills, right? They'd rather cut you down to 20 or 30 because they want to save money and they want to cut their costs because they're losing too much, right? Even though they know in 2 to 3 months things are going to pick up again, they're going to cut your hours because they feel like they're losing out on sales or whatever. And they are, but at the end of the day, you have to realize that people, and this is really where the point I'm trying to get to this whole video. You have to realize that your employer does not give a shit about you. They do not care. They care about their profit, and they care about minimizing costs. And if that's at the expense of you, they will make actions that are conducive to that. So if they want to cut you from 40 down to 24 hours, they will do that. Because that's just when you're at the top, right? Think about it, right? These corporate executives and vice presidents and CEOs and CFOs and all these corporate guys, right? In the higher ranks, they're making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, right? So they're good, right? But you know what? They want that Lambo this year. They want that Bugatti. They want to buy another piece of real estate. So they're not thinking about you, right? You have to realize that they're focused on becoming more rich while, you're working down at 24 hours just trying to pay your bills. They're focused on buying another rental property. They're focused on, going on an expensive vacation this year. So you got to realize people are selfish and they think for themselves, right? So that's the reason why I got 2 jobs to begin with, because at the time my job was big on cutting overtime. So I needed overtime because I had to pay my bills, right? So at the time I did have that second job at the restaurant. So now I don't have to do that anymore, which is I'm grateful. But I think every man must do it, right? You cannot depend on one source of income for a long time, right? You always have to have options, right? Now we talk about having, guys talk about having options in the dating game, which is good. But you also want to have options from a economic, job, career, business perspective as well, because you never want to depend on one source of income. No matter how good that job might be, no matter how much you might like that job, it's always good to have another job or a side hustle or something going on. But the easiest, and I made a video about this before, but the easiest way to get a couple hundred extra dollars a week is to pick up another job, right? And you could do full-time or part-time, right? So if you want to be extreme, you can work 40 hours at your main job and then 40 hours at another job and work 80 hours. I'll tell you this, it's not going to be fun because, like I said, for me, I really didn't enjoy it because I like to work out like consistently. And at the time, I was only working out 2 days a week, really. Like it was that, because I had to work like full days, right? Like I had no free time. So one thing you're gonna have to understand throughout the process when you get another job and you're working 2 is that there's 2 things that are gonna be sacrificed that you might not like up front, which is your sleep and your gym routine, right? A lot of you guys don't really go out anyway, so that's not really, you guys don't care about that anyway. And you got most of you guys are probably single, so you guys aren't really worried about women like that. So, obviously you're not worried about that, but your gym routine might be stifled to a degree because you're going to be working full days, and then your sleep, so if you work, let's say your first job starts at 7 and it ends at 3, and then your second job starts at 4 and it ends at 9. Well, hey man, if you're doing that 3 to 4 days a week, you might only really get like 5 hours, 6 hours of sleep as opposed to 8. So you're gonna have to accept that and work through it. I was drinking a lot of Celsius and Red Bull, those energy drinks, to keep me awake. Because I was just exhausted, but I knew I had to stay up. So like I said, it's worth the sacrifice. But like I said, don't do it for a long time. I think every man can do it for at least a year. If you do it for a year, you'll definitely have that 6 to 12 months of emergency funds, and then you can start to really dial in on other things, whether it's investing in crypto, whether it's you want to go start a side hustle or a business, or you want to go back to school to learn something. But you'll have the peace of mind of like, okay, I got some money in my bank account. I don't have to stress no more. I don't have to really sit there and penny pinch every dollar I make, right? So that's the goal, guys, and I highly recommend that you guys get on that because it's important. So that's it. That's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you guys have any questions, leave them down below. As always, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.